He said, okay, Ronna, you need a lot of plastic surgery. There are 5 procedures I would recommend. And then he went through them and said, we can do this and this and this and this and this. I had no idea. It was all like, here are all the things about your face we need to correct. And I was like, dang, I didn't know there was so much wrong with me. He showed me this image of Ronna after all these interventions. And I looked at it and thought, that woman, I cannot argue that that woman is much prettier than I am. That face, much prettier than I am. However, if I looked in the mirror and saw that, I wouldn't have a clue who I was. But it was like that. It was not for me because I wanted to have a face that I could recognize. Are you freaking out about body changes over time? Yeah, right? It seems like all of a sudden, every day, week, month, your body is different and somehow you didn't expect it. And sometimes that can feel scary and bad. So let's talk about that today, okay? I have some granny truths that can be, a little bit harsh, but I love you, so I'm going to tell you how the world really works. And then I'm going to tell you what worked for me and what I've seen work. And by the end of this video, life's going to be better, right? The plan is to lift you up. So let's go. Here's why when you start obsessing over hating your body, it's happening. Part of it is we get all these messages from the outside world about how we're supposed to look. And we've gotten all these messages since we were little kids about how we were supposed to look, how our face was supposed to look, how our hair was supposed to look. So they're inside messages that are broadcasting out, and then there are all these outside messages that we compare ourselves to. And we look at them and think, oh, wow, I'm never gonna be that. Pick your poison. I'm never gonna have thin thighs like that. I'm never gonna have abs like that. My nose is never gonna look like that. And by the way, neither are my eyelashes. So there's all this stuff going on, and that takes energy. The reason we're working together, because it's a challenge for me too, on what to do about body changes over time, is that what we want to do is deal with it and spend that energy, that creative energy that's kind of jammed up there because of this messaging about body it, and liberate it to do something more productive. Here's the granny truth. No matter what you do, your body is going to change. Can't hurry love, can't stop time. Time is gonna keep marching on. Some of you may be following that billionaire who's trying to create a way to live that will keep him young forever and maybe alive forever. He's in his late 30s, I think, and he says it's working and that he looks like he's 18. Okay, if he believes that I'm happy, to my eyes, I see time, which is a good thing. And with time, our body's gonna change. So when your body changes, the only thing to do, is accept it. That's gonna happen. That's it, that's all, that's cool. My example of this is Cindy Crawford. So Cindy Crawford was big deal model in the 90s. Most of you wouldn't know that, but you probably know her daughter, who's also a model, Kaya Gerber, who looks a lot like her mom. They are both beautiful, but as Cindy says, she can't have the goal to look like her daughter. She is not gonna look like her daughter. Her daughter can look like she did when Cindy was young, but Cindy's not gonna look young again. And you can see that when you put the two of them together, the hands of time keep moving, even for great beauty. Kind of interesting, right? And we will get back to Cindy in a minute. Now, the second thing some of us try to do in order to change what happens with the process of our body changing is invasive things in our face, invasive things in our body, plastic surgery, Botox, the surgery, the cool sculpt that sucks all the fat out. There's a great quote from Dolly Parton: nip it, tuck it, or suck it out. That's what I'm gonna do. She's talked about how it took $1 million, and I'm gonna say 6 surgeries, that may not be quite right, to get Dolly's chest to be as recognizable as Mount Rushmore is in America. Dolly's tatas are an American icon. So I think that's great, not just because I think Dolly's great, but because Dolly was very clear about why she was doing it. Some of it was her own insecurity. Dolly will say to this day that she's not naturally beautiful. That's stuck in her head. It's one of those messages we talked about. But the other one is she's doing it for her business. She decided that it was good for her career to be really noticeable, right? And her surgeries are all designed as a business investment. So she spent $1 million on her chest. She's talking about spending another $2 million for her 75th birthday to get even more work done. She talks about her plastic surgeon with great love. She calls him her fender guy. That's all great. And to me, the best thing about that is Dolly knows why she's doing it. The times I've seen people change themselves physically, and I know as young as you are, you're already thinking about doing it, is that the times that don't work is when you're changing to get a different result in the world. So let's say you want to do better in the dating pool, or you think that you're in a relationship and maybe your partner doesn't think you're as beautiful as they want you to be. So in your mind, you're getting the plastic surgery to fix the relationship. Maybe I'm wrong, and please comment on this. I have never seen, maybe you have seen, plastic surgery fix a relationship. In fact, I've never seen plastic surgery fix a life problem. It can fix how you feel about yourself. It can fix things if you have a specific marketplace purpose. Like I think that if I'm more noticeable, then it'll be better for my act. That's great, but it can't fix human problems. And go in knowing that, because anything you do to your body that's permanent has some risk. Y'all know, I'm just going to remind you that people die sometimes in plastic surgery, or they end up with results that they didn't intend to have. I bet you all know Michael Jackson. Would he have gotten that many nose surgeries if he knew he was going to get the nose at the end? I'm not so sure, and clearly it didn't make him happy. So remember, before you do anything drastic to your body to change your world, to change your life, maybe not, and to think about, is it worth risking whatever you're going to risk in your life in order to achieve the change you think you're going to get. Another thing about plastic surgery is it's kind of like interior design. So you get a new couch and you love your new couch. Your new couch is absolutely perfect. And then what happens? You realize, these chairs are looking extra shabby. Right? And so there's the brand new couch, and the brand new couch is making everything else look bad. And so that's what starts happening with plastic surgery. I once went, I couldn't make this up. Someone invited me to a plastic surgery party. A plastic surgery party must have been in the late 90s. And this was someone who was well-to-do. And a plastic surgeon came with his team, and they had the ability to take a photograph of you and put different procedures in, and then create an image, a computerized image of what you would look like after the surgery, right? Which was very, very extremely cool then. Nobody'd seen anything like it. And I will say that it was all women, and we were all hitting the wine pretty hard. It doesn't take much for me to hit the wine pretty hard, but I was hitting it pretty hard. So the guy looked at my face and he did it, and then he showed me this image, and he said, okay, Ronna, you need a lot of plastic surgery. There are 5 procedures I would recommend. And then he went through them and said, we can do this and this and this and this and this. I had no idea. It was all like, here are all the things about your face we need to correct. And I was like, dang, I didn't know there was so much wrong with me. And I said, okay, thank you. So then he called me the next day and he said, look, I didn't call anyone else, but I'm calling you because you could look so much prettier than you do now. You could be really, really, really pretty. And because I want you to have the chance to be really, really, really pretty, I'm going to lower the price. I still remember the number, I will do all these procedures. It was like a bargain. I will do these 5 procedures for $50,000. I was like, oh, okay. And then I said, okay, fine. But then we'll have to do them again. You know, like once you're in it, it's like Dolly Parton having to go in every couple of years. We're going to have to keep redoing it. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, but this is like, you know, the basic work that needs to be done. I didn't have $50,000. But the other thing that bugged me was he showed me this image of Ronna after all these interventions. And I looked at it and thought, that woman is much prettier than I am. That face, much prettier than I am. However, if I looked in the mirror and saw that, I wouldn't have a clue who I was. But it was like that. It was not for me, because I wanted to have a face that I could recognize, you know, let alone that other people could. It kind of was like, no, thank you very much. And he went in and worked on other people. You guys all know that nobody goes in and asks for bad plastic surgery. Nobody goes in and says, by the way, could I have an overly tight facelift? But sometimes people get them. And I remember one friend after that showed up and she'd had an eye lift. And you know how you, even when you're young, you stand in the mirrors and you do that, you know, to see what your eyes would look like if they were lifted up, or, you know, you lift up your hoods or whatever and you think, oh, yes, that's so much better. I saw this friend and she'd had this done, you know, this looky stuff taken off and her eyes lifted. Whoa, it just really looked bad, right? And she said, Ronna, I had my eyes done. I was kind of stalling for a response because I didn't want to say, oh, big mistake. You don't want to say that to someone you care about. And I was like, yes, are you happy? And she said, yes, I'm delighted, you know. So when she looked in the mirror, she thought she looked so much better. And now I'm at peace with that. She thought she looked better. It made her feel better. I don't know if she ever looked at it and thought, oh, that was a mistake. She was happy, so I was happy for her. What can I say? Here's another thing I learned the hard way. Permanent is permanent. Yeah. So there are things you can do to yourself that are permanent, and there are things you can do to yourself that are not permanent. Twice in my life, I've done things that were permanent. Both times, I was sorry I did it. The first one was electrolysis. That was long before. Do you know the artist Frida Kahlo, Kahlo? She's magnificent. Look her up if you don't. She had a unibrow. It's like defining that she had a unibrow. I had a unibrow too, and I didn't mind it until the day my dad and my brother were making fun of me, saying, oh my God, Ronna, what is that between your eyebrows? So I got electrolysis a bunch of times. All these hairs got zapped. That was when skinny brows were popular. And maybe 15 years after I achieved skinny brows, I woke up one day and realized fat brows were back in style, and I was getting older and my brows were getting skinny anyway. And the best solution for fixing my brows was, you guessed it, tattoos, microblading, another permanent solution. So I have endless stories about people I know who in their 20s and 30s got invasive things done, and then the style changed. You know, I know a lot of women who really thought their butt was too big. It's sort of a white girl thing, right? Don't want to have a big butt because white guys didn't like big butts, whatever, right? So I know so many people who got their butt fat sucked out. One day, Kim Kardashian turned up and was like, whoa, I should have banked my fat and put it right back in. So there you go. Permanent is permanent. And when you do something permanent, chances are when the style changes, you're going to have to do something permanent again to meet whatever standard you think you're trying to meet in the meantime. But if you stayed with me, here's the thing I've learned that always, always, always works. Here's what you do about your changing body and your changing face and styles changing. Have fun. Have fun. When I realized that makeup washes off, wigs can be taken off, whatever I do for fun that is temporary, even if it's ridiculous, if it makes me happy or it makes you happy, that's cool. The best example I've seen lately of this is Jared Leto. Do you know Jared? He's been in a million films. Not a kid anymore. He's also a musician who's in a band with his brother. So the Met Gala of 2023, everybody is there in gowns, including guys in gowns. Everybody's in gowns, everybody's showing all their everything. There's like jewels that require armed guards. It's like the whole Met Gala walking up the red stairs thing. And all of a sudden, there is this gigantic white cat that looks like an actual cat. A cat, not like a fake cat, but a gigantic cat that looks pretty much exactly like Karl Lagerfeld, the late lamented design head of Chanel's cat, Poupette, who, by the way, inherited from Karl, I think, about €1.5 million. Anyway, here comes this cat up the stairs, and there's this iconic photograph of the giant cat hugging Lizzo, and Lizzo's looking like, oh, giant cat be hugging me, what do I do about this? And then there's the reveal moment, the head comes off, and there's Jared Leto in this all-encompassing cat costume that was so much fun. It was like the best thing of the evening. And there he was, and like face full of blue eyeshadow to match the cat's blue eyes. He's my hero and my heroine and my all that. Have fun. So is your body changing? Yeah, enjoy it. So I want to close by going back to Cindy Crawford and her daughter, Kara. So the question came up to Cindy about, do you think you're still beautiful? And her daughter answered. This was not a mom saying to her daughter, oh, honey, you're beautiful. This was a daughter saying about her mom, my mom is beautiful, end of sentence. And she's beautiful because of what shines out from her. That's what makes for beauty. You look at beautiful people, and what you realize is it's the glow. It's the glow that comes from inside that makes them beautiful. And the outside, decorate with something that washes off. I love you. And by the way, I think you're beautiful. Bye.